And we don't need to do the things we don't wanna do. Baby, while we're young,
I'm sick of lying here all alone and nearly sleepless at night. I'm honest, it's boring. 1,000,000 demons surrounding me, picking a fight. It's toxic. You were the best I ever had, but every second you was.
Hello and welcome to Badass University All-Stars Season 2, our very first Playday. We're starting off with a bang. I am Jerry the Music Man. I'm joined here by the wonderful, the delectable Whippet. How are you doing, man?
Never been described as delectable. Every time I get to join the virtual caster desk with you, you hit me with a brand new welcoming. You never fail to disappoint. Your lexicon is much wider than mine
Gotta
is.
keep you on your feet, you know.
Oh, yes.
You are delectable, so I stick to the truth. But it's not about us. It's about the teams today. We've got some incredible teams, all fresh. This is a big fat reset for this season. Everyone that competed last season, not necessarily everyone, but lots of the people that competed last season have decided to do a bit of a shuffle. And We've got a whole new format, a bigger prize pool. It's all change here, and it's all improvement in my honest opinion. So we're going to run you through a couple of the quick changes just to the overall format. You may have seen last season we had this sort of double eliminations thing with different stages and points. This time round, it's just a round robin. We've got a 10-team league, and it's followed by a regular sort of single elimination finals with semi-finals and a grand final best of 5. So the top 4 teams from the regular season will go through to those, and they're competing for a £1,200 prize pool. Huge, the biggest in the uni scene. So whip it. Are you excited? I'm pretty damn excited about this season.
So am I. With all these positive changes coming in, man, that prize pool, a massive incentive for these players to really rise themselves to the next level of play and really show what they've got as a team, as individuals. And I cannot wait to get into this. Again, love the format. And one thing I'm really excited to get to see is finally going to get to cast some Maruni Tachanka, as those operators are now in this competitive pool.
Yeah, not only that, we might see some Chalet today as well. There's so many new things with this season that are being brought, not just to the game, but also to the league. In case you're new around here, in case you're new to University, Badass University All-Stars, it's a little bit of a different league compared to the rest of the uni scene. You've got, instead of teams that are rooted within a particular university, you have the best players from across the university scene basically kind of cherry-picked and put into different places, and they all create their own teams. And there's some brilliant team names out there as well. I can't wait to get to see and cast some of those. But there are some old faces as well. So if you watched last season where Czechsland managed to come out on top, then you'll recognise a few people here or there. I think there's a couple more things we've got in our round robin. It is a 3-2-1 point system. So we play OT. We do not have draws in this league. We're playing OT, and if you win a game in regular time, you get 3 points. Win in OT counts for 2 points, and a loss in OT counts for 1 point. You get nothing if you lose in regulation. But it just means that if you push forward to OT, then you're guaranteed at least 1 point. I really like this format. It's something that's been brought into EUL. I think it's a brilliant way to score this game. Of Siege. It just makes perfect sense that if you are that good, if you push forward to a 6-6 scoreline, then you deserve a bit of something at the end. But we're pretty much ready to have a look at our schedule for today. So we're just going to have a look at the teams that we're going to cast today. 3 teams on Mondays, 3 matches on Mondays, 2 matches on Tuesdays. That's the way this season is going to roll. We start off with Team Triton versus Sniper Monkeys, followed by Lockdown Ludens versus Randy Ravens. So a couple of new faces, a couple of old faces there in terms of the teams. And then the Princesses versus the Froggers, all new. I love these team names. I love the icons. They're all just so beautifully made. Obviously, they're completely new, so we're just going in sort of blind here. Every team here is here to kind of set the expectations for us for the season.
So I mean, these names are absolutely brilliant, by the way. Just like credit with these teams putting together absolutely fantastic names, and again, 3 very exciting matches up ahead. I mean, I'm really excited to get into this. New format, teams, great talent as well, and again, massive incentive for all these players to step up and massively perform. Great prize pool as well. This is going to be a very exciting season. I cannot wait to dive straight into it.
Absolutely. So, well, Team Triton versus Sniper Monkeys. That's our first game of the day, and that's where we've got to turn our attention to. So we're going to have a quick look at the rosters for these sides. And I believe that we've got a few familiar faces here on the side of Sniper Monkeys. Sturksy jumps out at me as the one of the sort of premier voices and premier names from the first season. And the rest, sort of a mix and match, a few new names, a few old names. But look at that. You can see on the sides as well where they hail from. Every single side, or at least both sides for this matchup at least, all of them hailing from different universities.
Yeah, that's really interesting to see that no one's opted to kind of stick with people they know from their own university sports programs. And, you can almost look at that as a way to almost see that every one of these teams is somewhat of a university super team. They've cherry-picked, the best people that they know in their circles, and are ready to get into this one. A little bit of a stat coming in there is that we have a former UConn player from like 2 seasons ago, I believe. Matums is apparently a former UConn player around 2 seasons ago.
Interesting.
So
cool.
That's it. interesting level of experience they're getting brought up. And again, you see that the varying levels of experience and past experiences from the university sides. Some people have managed outside of that university scene rise up and make it to the dizzying heights of T3, and sometimes this could be the first rung of the ladder for some of these players. So it's a great variation, but again, brilliant learning experience. And these teams will, over the course of the season, they're going to be building bonds, and they could be very lethal towards the end of it.
Yeah, and it might be a bit early to call it, but certainly from season 1 to season 2, pretty much all the teams in the first season had some kind of like university core where it was like majority one university or maybe two instead of three. And just looking at those first two lineups, seeing every single player from a different university, that's just such a mark of the success that this league has brought with its kind of ideal concept or unique concept, and the cross-pollination that it's sort of encouraging. It's really, really good to see a bit of development in the scene like this. So, yeah, I really hope the rest of the season goes well. I hope these players and these teams continue to sort of gel with each other. We're definitely going to see a kind of a process. I don't expect on this first Playday to see fully refined strats, to see perfect executes or anything. It might be a bit of a hell in a handbasket, if I'm honest. But, well, that's what we're here to find out, I guess.
Certainly, so I think you really did hit the nail on the head there about, we might not have the most flawless level of execution, but we do have our map bans coming in. And well, a very interesting map that we get to go on the action to, Ken. We don't have the graphic up for you available now, but we can tell you the map we're going to go to war with. And well, a familiar name for everyone inside of Europe, it's going to be Cafe.
Absolutely. Cafe's so well played across the region. It's one of the members of that trifecta that we've talked about for months now. We've got Oregon, Cafe, and Clubhouse that just see so much play. And it's not a surprise to see it here. This is effectively Sniper Monkey's pick, with Team Triton opting to go on the defense first, which is fairly standard. So really no surprises here. But it's a good level playing field. That's the main thing. Everyone in these teams will have some knowledge of how Cafe works at a basic level, and they'll have had the chance to draw up some initial strats with their side and get things rolling. It's not... I would be very, very surprised if we saw anything like a Chalet or even like a Villa on Playday 1, to be honest.
I have to really much echo that because, again, these teams are coming in. We don't know how experienced they can be, at least as a five-man unit in early days in this. So meat and potato maps, the more core sets of maps to play on is pretty much expected for the first 2 to 3 play days. But speaking of like the future play days, autobans are in place. So you're not going to be destined to see Oregon every single play day or every single week from every team because, well, they physically can't do it. So another fantastic change made. And, I mean, at least from my sanity on the virtual caster desk, being able to cast over something that just isn't Oregon, where we see the same stuff every week, is a great change. I'm really looking forward to getting to see potentially the entire line of maps used, and especially Chalet, the newest map to our pool. I've got already some experience casting it in other places, but I really think it has potential to be a very interesting map, and it requires a lot of coordination to make it work. It can be somewhat one-sided on that entry, but they put these teams in it where it could be, a very chaotic matchup. Will be a very interesting sight to see. And hopefully, it slips through the ban phase or opening play day. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Maybe. I mean, if we don't see it in the opening play day, it certainly might surface during the season. And, the finals are best of 3 semi-finals followed by a best of 5 final. So if it doesn't get into the best of 5 final, then I'm going to be very sad. So hopefully Chalet shows up there at the very end of the season. That'll be around about sort of early June that we get there. But like we said, we're at the very start of the season, and we're just waiting for one player in lobby to show up, and then we can throw right on in. But Cafe, let's talk a little bit about Cafe. Not too much to say that people will be unfamiliar with already, but yeah, a level playing field, and certainly kind of defender favoured traditionally, which a lot of maps in the pool are, but I feel like Cafe has kind of retained it a bit more than, say, Oregon, and well, a lot of the other maps in the pool.
Yeah, Cafe, again, historically, as you mentioned, defender sided, and hasn't seen too many variations, not that much evolutions happen on the map. For example, when you look at other older maps like Clubhouse, they tend to change in the wind. When a new meta arises, it's one of the maps that are very malleable to that change. One thing, though, I do want to mention, some of the stuff I've seen, is that a Rooney can be a very strong tool to use on a map like Cafe. Just think about the extension in the bakery. That rotate you can play on the double wall behind the bar, you can put in the Rooney gate there to help shore that up, and that forces a commitment of at least one piece of utility or a drone to make that entry work. And again, that's all Rooney's very good at doing, forcing a commitment to a very certain position and draining away the clock. So expect either a Rooney to get banned out in the ban pits or an additional catcher like a Jaeger or a Mine, just to make that job a little bit easier. But keep an eye on that. Tachanka, again, another operator that's new to the pool, and I think will have some use here on Cafe,
Yeah.
especially down in the kitchen. He can make a vertical angle or angles that he can use the Mosin fireball launcher. He can set up angles that he can do it from safety, and it can be very dominating, especially in those last few seconds of a round, and can almost be more effective than a smoke. It's hard to tell right now. I've only witnessed around 2 to 3 VODs where he's been used in this way, but it's still a very strong setup and very interesting to see if these players can adapt to that new climate.
It's one of those things with these new seasons that we expect to see combinations of new operators coming in, and whether you stack those together, for instance, like the smoke and the Tatanka at the same time, or whether you spread them thinly and get different kind of effects across the board is a bit of a matter for debate. But what is not a matter for debate is the start of our first game, Triton versus the Sniper Monkeys, which has been abbreviated to Smunkies, and I quite like that. That threw me off for a second, and I really like it. I think I'm going to run with that for this.
I like that a lot. That is a great one. Well, it rolls off the tongue as well. I like that a lot. You know, one thing I'm really looking forward to when we see another team in our player base called Chimp Hunters versus Sniper Monkeys. Now that's going to be a fun one.
A real battle of the apes. That's going to prove who the superior
who the grade A primate is.
Yeah, exactly. So we got bans coming through. Thatcher's barely worth talking about at this point in history, but maybe the second one will be a bit more interesting. And Nomad certainly changes the way that this map is played. Makes it a lot harder to control and keep control of, well, everything. Because most takes on this map, you want to be going from the top down. There's usually a migration to the very rooftop of the map, and then falling through Red Hatch and clearing out that way. No matter what site it is, you may well see it. Kitchen, sometimes you'll see a bit more of a lateral push, but a lot of the time that roam clear is important. And Nomad, certainly a key tool in keeping those staircases clear, making sure that they're not retaken. Wamai and the Mirror last to go, and again, fairly standard at this point. Wamai having lost his shield makes him slightly less frequent a ban in recent months, but he's still powerful. He still very much defines how Pixel may be played, and pretty much a sort of archetypal icon for how that entire room was played for a very, very long time. So taking him off the board is completely normal. Jaeger still in play though, and Goyo being brought to just sort of address that lack of shields on the defensive side here with this lineup as we go to Bar and Cocktail.
I have to agree. Extra shields are going to make it very difficult to break through. And one of the things I've seen in recent kind of emergence is that you kind of play with shield in pixel and then one inside a bathroom as well to give an extra angle to fight with once the entry inside a piano starts to occur. Again, you have your traditional hold inside a freezer, which I think we're going to see employed again with openings across that freezer wall, with one of them reinforced, one less soft, and a shield there for extra cover. Very vulnerable from below, entries down below if an Ash wishes to do it, or even utility burn very aggressively on towards this double wall that's getting reinforced by the Jaeger we see there wheeling the G2 skin. And I believe G2 are having an absolute banger in EUL right now, so hopefully their passion in their matchup can give that Jaeger some extra help as he looks to get into it. I think Virtue has absolutely went huge for his team.
You got one open on the other monitor by any chance? I'm trying not to keep track of it so that I can watch it all later. So please, no spoilers with it.
Sorry.
Please. It's alright. I mean, I half expected G2 to do fairly well in this match. But anyway, we're going to focus on this. Oh, look at the beautiful new skin.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, these skins. I love this. This is one of the best seasonal skins to come out in a very long time. That fire and ice theme. It's beautiful. It's really a nice cam as well.
Yeah, it's, hot and cold personal skin, He can't rock Leviathan anymore. He's with Mirage, but he's got something else to rock to represent him perfectly. But we're on Cafe, and the very traditional ascent up to the roof begins, but this time only measured up by a single player. That's going to be the sledge, and bonk, the hatches are now open. Sends Shrapnel into the heavens, and that's going to give the initial entry at least a foothold on this map. And there we go. Everyone else joining him on the roof. It's a traditional point of this. So everyone's going to push in from the roof. One player on that window to try and burn away utility and clear the shield in Pixel. The ace charges opened up that wall in red, and that's going to give the main entryway in the ticket. Can they push off that? The information is there, but the C4 down below in the hands of replays could be a very tricky thing to deal with. The Valkyrie cameras, of course, relaying information. And if he just plays his cards absolutely perfectly, he can find a very good kill here on at least two, or at least one, if not more.
One of the beautiful things about this update is that we've got that lovely banner across the top that summarizes the utility, and you can see right there 4 C4s on the side of Triton. So they're looking to leverage that vertical control very much so, but Matem's is going to be the one to get us off to the races here with a kill onto TXC. That takes down the Ash. Big, important piece of utility removed there, but Octagon falls in response. Luckily for the defense, Jaeger is set and forget, so his utility remains. Ash down is much worse.
Great grenade tossed out there. BC would be proud. And that's going to be the opening killer trade-off there, I should say. That's going to get an advantage now for Sniper Monkeys in a 3 versus 4. C4 still in the hands of the Valkyrie down below, and that could be an imminent threat if you don't clear it out. And it doesn't look like they're any the wiser of it. Whoop whoop sound is going to be relayed, and I think that C4 is tossed up to no avail, but doesn't matter, as a great shot, the SMG-11 deep inside of Freezer is going to be able to get quick jab and tie us up once again in terms of player count in a 3 versus 3. Both teams trading off players left and right, and that's going to be Norm the Norm getting another one, and that's going to be a 2 versus 3 in favor of the offense. The defense falling back towards Cocktail now, trying to make a stand. That's going to be the guy who actually lurking down below, perhaps trying to get a C4 of his own, but he's going to be coming back up. Has that TCSG in hand, so a single peek, a single displaced pixel from the attacker is going to reduce them in HP greatly. A great shot there with the MPX, and now tying us up once again. It's going to be a tag team matchup with the final 35 seconds left to play with. All the play for in its opening round on Cafe.
Here we go, Reply does reply exactly there and finds one. Can he take down the second? The Hyde has to whip out the pistol. He looks a bit scared right now. Reply hits it. The double kill at the end. Great play from the Valkyrie to seal out that round. And the 2 versus 3 leaves Team Triton coming out on top.
Absolutely fantastic play from that Valkyrie. It was a key part of that strategy from down below. The C4 failed, but the MPX is enough to get the job done. Aim sweet and you shall be rewarded. And it certainly was. 3 kills to guide his team to the opening round victory. That sets them up good as they move down to the kitchen and service. Interesting. No pick of that Aruni just quite yet. A 6 pick, very much potential. But again, I would love to see our brand new operator in play here. Again, it's great potential on this site in particular. But will we see anyone 6 picking away? Oh no, it's going to be to a Pulse over. The Maestro is off the board. No more Alda. But we have the cardiac sensor. Information is king. And Pulse can very much relay absolute tons of it. So it makes perfect sense. C4 game again down below. Give me something to keep your eye on. Yet again, 4 C4s in play on the side of the defense.
Yeah, they are going huge on these Nitro cells. It's surprising to me to see this many on a kitchen defense. Perhaps they're expecting a fair bit of vertical pressure. I think, honestly, if Spunkies read into their sort of the operator lineup and see that there's very likely going to be a lot of C4s, obviously the Pulse was 6 picks away, but that's still 3 minimum. You might think, hey, why don't we just sort of go for a freezer push or go for a bakery push and just circumvent that threat altogether? Sure, the C4s can be tossed in your direction, but it's a bit less sort of, you know, unexpected, shall we say, especially with the Pulse on the board. If they happen to drone him out, which they may well have, given that Major's managed to move his way up all the way to the top floor, then they'll probably think better of applying too much pressure vertically. That said, Xerxes does want to get that sledgehammer to good use, so you know, it's a decision they have to make at some point. I want to highlight one thing from the previous round, which was maybe something that Triton fell asleep on, which was that they certainly had intel in Piano. At the very end, we saw a Selma being pinged out with that new red ping, and, well, relatively new. And I feel like they missed some opportunities, because earlier on, there were a lot of C4s going astray, and if they had that intel, then all it takes is a few good yellow pings and just a bit of coordination, and you get some free picks. So I think they just need to up that coordination a little bit, and they'll see themselves through in no time with the amount of C4s that they bring.
TXC had a very aggressive entry in the bottom of white there, but again, getting met by no resistance. It looks like a very bunkered up hole with reliance on roamers right now, and well, to confirm that, you don't see an extension in towards coat check. So this ground floor is basically free real estate right now for Sniper Monkeys, and if they can just take it and pressure these roamers downstairs and hold the crossfires on their entryways down, this could be a very effective round. Replay seemingly aware of the presence inside of coat check and watching it intently with this MP5. Some damage already getting done on the side of Sturksy, and he's not going to be too keen to take engagements. We're trading off HP for nothing, but the Salvage Charge is now opening up that wall, and nothing there to stop it. An interesting choice with bandits in play. So, not a wise commitment of utility. Perhaps a quick jab's going to get aggressive by red stairs, find some damage traded off his replay. He's just going to keep himself on top up on full HP. Major has the information, but he's not going to be able to take that fight. A dangerous angle to fight with, especially with the UMP in hand. And again, the vertical pressure right now from Triton, it's great, it's shutting down a top-down clear, but right now, they have to be very cautious of their rotations down. They can get caught out very easily. And yes, there's no Nomad there, jab them away, but a single gun pointing in the direction can shut them down. TX gets very aggressive here, looks for that Pulse, confirm both of them left on low HP, but at this point, Pulse has to play the time. Sorting gets the opening kill as Sturksy falls to the P10 Roni.
Yeah, and there's a couple of openings made into the other site as well as TXC begins pushing through. Quick jab pushing through. Prep takes down one, and a flurry of kills go back and forth, leaving Smonkeys in the driver's seat. Octagon has to try and flank and retake the site with Masons anchoring up on the Bandit. The Hyde is getting Diffuser down, but that flank is caught out by TXC for a double on the round, and now Matums, with one C4 in hand, has himself in a post-plant situation, doesn't quite catch a player retreating, and now this is going to be very difficult for him. Take a few shots through the breach holes made earlier, but no one is giving him anything right here from Smonkeys. They just need to play a little bit more passive here. He will try and rotate back through Bakery and get the long angle down the hallway. He has to be quiet on his approach, and this will waste precious seconds. The spray comes through from Nom the Nom, and he does fall. Matum's slowly making headway in this clutch. 18 seconds left, but the defending attackers are just too far back. TXC swings from VIP, fells the Bandit, and that is Smonkeys taking their first round, tying us up 1-1.
I really like that, the fact they were able to come from behind early, but they were very smart to read into that play upstairs and completely ignore it for the opening phases of that round. Getting that pressure right outside of the objective puts that on the anchors. They really feel that their engagements matter that much, and when you're able to at least close down the rotations from the roamers and force down that plant, it's a very, very strong position to find yourself on the attacking side. So all tied up one round apiece is Kitchen Service, second time of asking for the defensive Triton. Will they make good of it? As the changes have to come out with replays. Grabs that Ella. Interesting. What weapon will it be? A Scorpion or an FO12? As Sturksy goes away from that Cali, picks up the sledge yet again. And we will see an Ella6 pick away back to that Melusi of replay. So Banshees in play. Their whales can be disruptive to everyone who makes an entryway. But I would have loved to see an FO12.
The FO12 is a fun gun when it gets the chance to just rattle through enemy skeletons. But they're sticking with this sort of spread lineup of C4s. They've decided to sub out the Mozzie for the smoke, so a little bit more assuredness on site, maybe the ability to burn more time off the clock, because Monkeys handled their timer very well in that attack. That can be one of the fatal flaws of a kitchen push, is just the timer. It's a very good thing for the defense to waste it, and they did play it well. They fell back. There was some nice play from the Pulse to sort of take, you know, a couple of fights, but just making sure that he prioritized his own life above all else. We're seeing a bit of an extension this time with the smoke into VIP to try and hold that freezer hallway, and this is a good hold that I think should be done a bit more often on defenses. It really does waste a lot of time. It forces attackers to commit to that or just ignore it entirely. Looks like TXC is going for the former, as they have some yellow pings already onto the positions of these defenders.
A good push yet again. They're doing this very similar entry once more, and you gotta be concerned here if this isn't gonna get read in directly from the side of Triton. They know the push was very horizontal, very much focused laterally and getting control of VIP, and they haven't read into this. As Replay getting rid of a drone and perhaps making his presence on the brown stairs known, but again, they have to be more active watching this VIP region, and it looks like the entries are already occurring. So can Octagon be the front line of defense right now, as well, the Ash of TXC is going to be finding himself in that Banshee's range, and that's going to be a nightmare's position to find himself in, exposed for the time being, but he gets it destroyed and back in the cover. Replay in a very nasty position on top of those bouncers, waiting for anyone to stumble up into his crosshair, but I don't think the verticality is a presence at all for Sniper Monkeys. I don't think they want to play for that. They just want to open up sight directly and play for engagements, play for their kills, get their ones going. As grenades tossed in to clear away that player on the bandit trick. He's going to be successful, it looks like, and yes, he is. So he's going to be able to slow down so much time right now, and this could be a very pivotal fight as this round progresses.
It seems odd to me that so much utility was invested in VIP and Brown Bar at the early round, and then it was just vacated, offered up to Monkeys, and they've taken it, they've gobbled it up willingly. And, you know, fair play to them. It's a little bit of a misstep from Triton, in my opinion. You know, take that shield, put it somewhere in sight. If you're not going to hold that position, you might as well give yourself a bit of an advantage in the fights that are actually going to come your way. But Sturksy is doing his job upstairs, trying to clear these bandit batteries. Of course, with no Thatcher or Callie on the board, vertical presence is essential to get rid of them. He's done just that. The Selma charges will open up an entryway on that side of things. Last time around, we saw a couple of ex-Kairos expended on that northern wall on the second side, on the west side, from red stairs, and that provided a lot of pressure onto the defense. They just weren't able to move freely across the site. But look at this, the Roam Hunt is coming upstairs eventually, and Replay is just going to gobble it up. Nom gets nommed, and Sturksy goes down as well. Sardine finds him, and now we've got ourselves a 3 versus 5, as I think Smunkies just took their eye off the ball there.
Certainly seems that way, and commitment to the verticality late now. The hands of Sophia just above, trying to clear out prep. The Ash gets aggressive here, but in Coffee we see the prone silhouette there, just waiting for an aggressive peek here. Matum in a great position, advantageous, and a C4 in hand. If he has the information, he can just prime it and ready, but he's going to get aggressive. MP7, great for brawling in close quarters. Well, there he goes, sends out that Nokia brick, and that's going to do the job. Finds the hide, and now in a 4 versus 2, all Triton have to do is sit pretty and hold their crossfires. TXC is going to get caught by a nasty position by Replay, and it's all down the quick. 5 seconds left to go in his life, now forfeit. The H&K MP5, the hands of Replay as Triton claim round number 3, 2-1. They move into it. I'd imagine we're going to go back to the bar.
Most likely. I think it's a bit early to say, but Replay is looking like a gunner on fire right now. He's hitting his shots, and he's providing that late round presence that at the moment Sniper Monkeys aren't dealing with consistently enough. He's already managed to bag 1 clutch, and that was a very strong round from the Melusi there. It looks like a little bit of a swap going on there now, as he's going to move over onto the Legion instead. We saw him play Vount, we saw him play Melusi. He seems happy on all sorts of roles, and instead it's going to be the Guman wielding Hong Kong native to come up this time. Oh no, he's back on the Vount. Never mind.
Picking up, I mean, both very similar roles. I think he's going to be kind of on that flex defense role. So, as you mentioned, very early in the season to tell, but so far, he's putting up some fireworks, some great numbers, 6 and 1, leading the charge in terms of kills, not only for his team, but entirely in the server. So, eyes peeled on that. Cameras deployed to give that extra information, and I imagine he's going to play in a very similar position. Down below, C4 primed and ready, deny that entry into ticket, top red area. That could be very dangerous if Sniper Monkeys do not get the information and do not act upon it. Goyo shield inside a Pixel, which is an interesting choice. Normally I would actually rather a default shield than Pixel, because someone can be more active behind it and you put the Goyo shield in Freezer, but not opting for that Freezer presence at all. Instead, viewing the angles inside of bathroom, which presents a nasty position for any defenders who aren't quite expecting it. But the drone game looks very solid by Monkeys right now, so I think they're going to be able to detect everything. In a great position there from Sturksy there. He could even spot down that rotation downstairs at the hands of Replay, and I wonder if they're going to be aware of Valkyrie's positioning this time.
Quite often it's considered suicide to try and get a drone to the top floor of bar defense in prep phase, but they've managed it, and that drone could provide them with countless amounts of intel and just really valuable for them to get that early on. If it goes undetected, usually as a defender you've got to be thinking to check these spots. That's a fairly common one, but I mean, it's so often that you think, oh yeah, like on attack, I should be when you're droning, you're like, oh yeah, I should check that spot on defense, and then when you move it over to defense, you're just thinking about everything else, and it just kind of falls by the wayside. But I suppose that's the difference between a good player and, well, me. Ash is going to drop in and take this red stairs position. I do like the speed with which Smunkies actually get hold of the ground that they need for a push. It's just sometimes their execution has been a little bit wanting. We'll see if that's the case this time around. An early C4 not quite hitting the mark, it would seem, from Reply. In fact, no, that's not an early C4. That's a... Where did that explosion come from? Is it explosion? Like
Ash charge? I mean,
probably.
there are...
Oh, yeah, it must have been removing a Banshee. Oh, there we go. There's the C4 from Replay, and, well, Sardine finds a second. That's probably round over, right?
I mean, when you get such a massive man advantage early, you can just think they can just sit and confirm it. But Xerxes sends out a great grenade and gets it down on the Goyo. Does he have the information there? I believe he does. And well, paging BC, this is going to be a grenade kill, surely. No!
He dropped.
Oh, just escaped, but he's not going to have his life in tow for too much longer. The hide gets him out of play, and verticality getting opened up by the Major. Xerxes looks to be aggressive here. Here's the shotguns in the distance and has to choose to be aggressive. Only him and his teammate of the Hid remain. So against 4, you've got to take this calculated risk. Be aggressive and try and fight with the backhand advantage. He gets one on the octagon, so now only one more 1v1 to be isolated, and they can find themselves back on level playing field in a minute or 55 seconds left to do so. They have the option. Great information being relayed by this drone yet again. A fantastic position. The Hid makes an entry in towards Piano now, and this is going to be the front line beginning to form up. Both attackers now together and ready to push for that trade-off if needed. As time ticks away though, the C4 primed and ready by May comes tossed out to no avail, but giving away his position. Yellow pings give so much info, and now MP5 sink sweep once again. Xerxes off the board, and now in a 1 versus 3. 30 seconds remain. That diffuser is not in his back pocket. He's going to get chipped away, surely, and he's going to be cornered all the way by stage. Everyone knows his position. There's information relaying on it. We hear the yellow pings. It is surely game over for this round for Sniper Monkeys. And, well, there it is. Major with the SMG-11. A great shot from inside of Freezer. Finds the head of Ace and gets yet another round in the bank. 3-1 advantage now sits with Tritons, and they have to be forced down to a tertiary site now.
Not never in doubt, but almost never in doubt from Triton there. A little bit shaky in the mid-round. Stokesy picking up a double, but in the end, they finished with 3 on the board. That was really solid stuff from Triton, mostly. They're going to move down to Reading and Fireplace for, well, their tertiary site. And this is, every time I see it, I say it. It's one of my favourite sites in the game. There's so many interesting sort of interactions you can get through here. And it's where the top-down verticality really shines and is super important in both directions. You're not just taking the top floor as an attacker to try and get that pressure vertically. You're also, if you're playing it right as a defender, opening up some angles, supporting the players that are holding above you in cocktail by denying breaches and landing C4s and headshots sometimes. So there's just so much to see back and forth. Lots of different ways of taking it. We see a sort of traditional approach where you clear out Piano, push through to cocktail, and then go for a reading plant. But teams have tried out, dining pushes. It can be a little bit shaky at times, depending on the way it's set up. This is why you see these little holes in the floor level in dining. The idea is, as a defender, you want to make it into a bit of a kill box. Very, very difficult for attackers to push in there. They have to sort of crouch walk through the fireplace itself and risk getting shot up not only from pillars along the hallway, but also from white stairs. So, and also in reading, there's basically every direction you have to worry about. So, generally, the reading plant is the way to go if you're attacking this.
I know, I've seen in some of my recent experiences that when teams are very much committed, every 4 players upstairs inside of this cocktail area, putting up a stern resistance, teams, they can often get caught off guard by a very aggressive and sometimes quick rotation down into mining and make that execution work. So it's potential. 0, though, on the board for the very first time in this matchup. And I love to see Sam Fisher in action. Those Argus cameras are somewhat of a semi-pseudo substitute for, I guess, an air jab. If someone's at least actively watching them, they can relay great information on the flank watch and can be tricky to spot out. A breachway is made open inside of top red. Very quick, 2 players drop inside, take control very rapidly. And once again, Sniper Monkeys, kind of that trademarked early aggression or early fast-pacedness to take what they want. You'll love to see teams be like this. It's very brutal. And very much kind of the idea of every forward step they take is for an intent purpose. And it looks like they're very intent of clearing out replays here. He's got that UMP in hand, and he's going to fall back to his second shield. So I like this setup. 2 very fortifiable positions and an onion peel strategy. He can fall back, and that smoke grenade and grenade following it are going to be a little bit wasted because, well, he's deep inside of timber now, and he's going to sit pretty because he just has so much control and can dictate the pace of this engagement. The castle barrier as well is going to force utility to get burned away as Major. Great timing. C4 up it goes. Xerxes falls, and one follows, but that's going to be Ashes remaining unscathed. Advantage sits by Triton. I'm loving this strategy right now. Really forcing a lot of commitment of utility to clear away positions. Replay is going to tank that damage from that Goyo shield, but again, no one can push in that position yet, and that castle barrier on Cocktail proving to be a nightmare thing that it was still not to be cleared. It was only around 15 or a minute 15 left to go. Finally removed from action. But again, is this time waste enough for Triton to hold on the round? Again, they have that man advantage. All they need to do is burn down that clock, and surely this is going to be a round in the bank.
Yeah, there's a textbook setup right here, but bar one thing, and that's that Goyo shield. I was going to say it's a little bit of a risky placement, especially for Replay to be right behind it, but Octagon's going to be protecting his side, taking down quick jab. A push comes through from the hide, but Replay takes him down, and the refrag comes through from TXC. Octagon deciding to fall back now as we enter a 4 versus 2 for the late round. The attacker's really badly bruised here. Diffuser has, well, it will be about to be picked up. They have control above, but is that going to be enough? Probably not.
Yeah, when the time is against you like this with only 30 seconds, having verticality is all well and good, but now defenders can push out in the pillars, the danger spotter, in the 90 hallway, areas where this verticality can't necessarily cover, and you're going to be forced to funnel into it, and a retake is very much possible when you have this man count favoring. 15 seconds remain, timer strikes red, and that's going to be the go clock now. They have to be aggressive. That Castle Buyer is going to slow them down, a commitment of utility. They all now know where this push is coming from. The Ash has to be aggressive, down prone, on the door frame. That's going to be Sardine with the Vector in hand, and Norm Crouch walking his way in the dining, and there's nothing much he can do because that timer, the bane of his team's existence, is Triton claim round number 5. Very efficient right now, 4-1 advantage they sit on. They're playing this perfectly on a cafe defense.
The best part about this is that they are seriously playing to win right now. They're not letting up on their aggressive holds, and to be fair to Sniper Monkeys, their one redeeming quality that we've said and mentioned a few times throughout this game is their willingness to take ground incredibly quickly. They're not usually letting the timer get to them. That is the first time that it's really been an issue, but to be honest, it was more the lost fights on the top floor that kind of cost them in that round. If they had an extra man or two up, then that final push is a lot more efficient, a lot quicker, and, you know, you don't have the risk of someone, you know, crouching in the corner of default plant, just holding the angle. That was such a cheeky little play to basically seal out the win there. From the Goyo. So really nice stuff from Triton, and that's what I mean by playing to win. They're not resting on their laurels. They're making sure they're doing creative things to seal it out even when things are going their way anyway. So I like what I see from Triton. Good, promising early signs. Replay 9-2, and we're not even done with this first half yet. He could hit double digits before the split, and that would be quite something to write home about.
He is having a fantastic game so far. Really is being that kind of thorn in the side. Every time he seemingly finds himself in engagement, he's the center of the storm, and he finds himself at least getting a kill for his efforts. And Payday speaks volumes right now, as well as his team's advantage. And you can all, you know, sometimes when a team is losing, they can have a lot of kills as an individual, but it's not exactly that showing. But when your team is leading and dominant in the way Triton have been so far, those kills speak volumes. Attempted peek there by Replay, but he's just going to be sending lead downrange for no apparent reason. At least acting as an intimidation, perhaps. So, okay, I've got the MP5 again. You've seen what work I've done in the past. Entryway inside of mining begins, and it looks like they're going to be trying for a more vertical presence. You know, downstairs are pushing very horizontally. Didn't work out at least how they intended the previous time they were attacking the kitchen site, so mixing it up perhaps is a good idea. Quick jab looks like an entry inside a pillar. Let's catch anyone on that rotation. Cautiously scanning, waiting for information of his drone buddies to commence, and well, we see the drone off in the distance, and that's going to be giving him a little bit of short-up confidence. He can make an entryway instead of reading. He's going to be able to do so efficiently, as we see no blue silhouettes lurking, as Dirksy gets himself lit up around 50 HP remaining, but remodeling the kitchen floor begins, and anyone trying to work on that kitchen line can be displaced.
Triton keeping Smunkies on their toes here by rotating this lineup. They've got a Kaid in play right here to offer a bit more protection, swapping out that mute I believe they were using last time. And Xerxes going to first of all try and remove the charge on this wall in Bakery. Looks like he has succeeded, so Hard Breach available from that angle, but Octagon finds the first kill of the round. As that Jaeger taking down yet again the Ash, an early loss here, and well, at least they're making light work of this floor right now, because they're going to need to leverage this vertical control. Quick jab, trying to hunt the Jaeger. It appears that that kill was on the top floor, and they've kind of lost control. This is not good for Smunkies. Doesn't matter if you take ground quick, you got to keep it. Replay on the prowlers as well, but Sardine's going to be the one to find someone first. Replay goes down to quick jab, finally getting something on this roam hunt. Kills happening all over the map right now. So hard to keep track as Nom 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 finds Sardine, and we're at a 3 versus 3 now with about a minute left on the clock.
Good set of trades occurring, but can they make good of the execution? Now, the final round of the attacking split, and that's going to be Octagon finding a second in the round as Quick Jab falls. Everyone seems to launch into action now, looking for it. The Banshee out of play at the hands of Norm, but again, information just relayed with the sound cue. The Hyde's going to help back up his teammate, push in the Cupcake, but doesn't check behind it, and that's going to be Matum getting that kill, and now in a 3 versus 1, 30 seconds remain. On the Norm on 0. What work can he do? An MPX great for brawling. Can he find one? He does so on his MPX compatriot. That's going to be Matum the Bandit off the board, but now pushing in that his prep. He's going to be met by that horrible Banshee sound. He's got the trampoliner can opener ready to display some action. The default camera though, relaying every bit of information required by that defense. And now he's just going to be finding himself creeping up in that Banshee whale, but he's going to get caught out. The TCSG guided by the hand of Super himself, and that's going to be Triton getting round number 6 guaranteed and a 5-1 advantage. Moving on to their offensive side, a dominant defensive half. Very much a statement piece for anyone watching inside of this league. You've got to wonder, can Sniper Monkeys do the same and get this one all the way tied up, force themselves an advantage, or if need be, get themselves to overtime?
Very strong start here from Team Triton. As we get a look at this wonderful R6 analyst stats board, we can see, look at some of the performances that we're seeing. Replay we've highlighted, he didn't quite get to double digits at the split, but still +5 trade differential. Look at that, kills per round 1.5, always having some kind of impact. But let's not lose sight of Matums and Sardine both on 100% cost. That is a huge stat from the both of them. Maybe not performing in as flashy a way as Replay, who's managed to get a couple of clutches, a few multi-kills to his name, but very consistent, this duo. And as they switch onto the attack, I wonder if they're going to be the ones to really step forward and shine. But I guess time will tell. We have no way of knowing. I think Smunkies, they stand a better chance in this half, certainly. We said at the very start that Cafe is still one of the more defender-sided maps in the pool, even with a slight recent leaning towards attacker favoredness across the board. Well, at least a bit more of a 50-50 than it used to be. So, every possibility that they pull this back and we see maybe even an overtime.
I never like to count any team out, especially when you mention defense favored historically on Cafe, but they can very much pull it together. I'm seeing this little change up happening. I think this is on the fly, a change of strategy, and I don't think they want to commit to having this open. They've got a mute, they've got the SAS shotgun, so they can play it very aggressively here with the jammers to really deny information, as well as that wall. If they need to fall back from Pixel, well, Service, he can just sit up and, well, dig himself in, entrenched in that position, and with a 12 gauge in his hand and SMG-11 for backup, it can be a nightmarish position to clear out. So again, I think that's a wise choice right now, and perhaps giving less openings for Triton to find heads or displace Pixels early is a good decision. They need to perhaps play more reserve to get rounds in the bank and bring the fight to Triton.
You talk about the strength of this position, especially when you've got that double SAS lineup of the mute and the smoke, and the way that you can just swing around that corner with the shotgun. I'm looking forward to seeing how teams employ Tachanka on this top floor, especially alongside the smoke, because feasibly you could completely lock out a white push for the entirety of the round and just guarantee that all of your defensive guns need to look in the direction of sort of new hats and cigar shop. That would be such a boon to any defense, and with Tachanka, of course, you can do that from range. You could be doing it from the back of white with a good little kind of pair of openings. You could even be doing it from Maestro spot through the freezer if you wanted. So there are a lot of options with that new operator. Well, you know, relatively new in terms of him being introduced to comp. He has been around for about 6 months now, I think. So people know how he works, but in a comp scene, he's going to be sort of, you know, developing and being experimented with at this point.
Yeah, he's still in that. He's still in that experimental phase. I don't think many teams necessarily will be putting scrim hours on the board with him yet. Perhaps Rooney was more of focus, because I think, at least from my perspective, like, oh no, he's just gonna be safe. He's on that box. This is always a like, he's so close to him. He saw the beret at the final second there, and Maestro very much thanking all of his blessings to have his head so mounted to his shoulders. Overextending his welcome on that camera, but again, the Evil Eye is so good at relaying information, being just a deterrent by their existence alone. Here we go, commitment to Sturksy with that shotgun deep inside a bathroom. All he needs to do is find someone, dump him full of buckshot, and he can get his team this advantage. As time drains away, they're going to be forced to funnel in towards him, and these jammers are going to make it a very tricky fight for information at least. He can't open up that wall behind him. The cover of that smoke is there as well on Norm, so you've got to think about this. The SAS Brotherhood is ready to hold the line inside of White. This would be a tricky one. An aggressive peek is there, but no! That's going to be the Ash winning it. Octagon getting a trade off the TX as well, and every prediction I thought about that bathroom fight completely proven wrong. Norm finds a second in the round, but vaulting on through. That's going to be Matum getting that kill. A very quick trade up there as Quick Jab's going to be able to get that on the Sardine. The hit still inside of Cocktail, has that all at the ready. 81 rounds of hurt he can display, send him down range at a great RPM. Where the player by top of White says, I believe he is. Can he hold his position though? It's going to be a tricky fight nonetheless. The plant's going to go down by Matums, and the cover has to be there. The ace is surely going to be a stick it now. The ingress in the Cocktail occurs, and now the plant goes down. A post-plant situation as C4 below misses. And the Maestro forced in a tricky position, fighting against the player in Cocktail. Can he win it out? Got the free fire availability, and he does. Finds the head of IQ. Major falls, and now Matums in a 1 versus 2 post-plant situation. All he must do is hold up the fuser, force it into critical. But can he do enough against 2? Position surely known. It doesn't actually appear to be known at all. He's very frantically checking all of his corners. There's the barrel of the Alda. Gets one, and now in a 1 versus 1, the information is there, but no! Quick Jab can't do enough. The MP5 doesn't sing sweet. And Triton claim round number 7. Force their hand all the way on the match point. Very, very good 1vx coordination and awareness there at the hands of Ace. Credit where's credit's due. Take a bow.
Amazing 1v2 clutch there from Matums. Quick Jab trying to come in with the refrag, but the 1-2 punch from the Ace just too good. It's duped him out in that duel, and now we've got ourselves a really interesting match point right here. 6-1 the scoreline. That's 5 successive rounds. I did not expect that clutch coming through from Matums. Huge one from him. Now they've got, well, 5 chances to seal this one out in regulation, and even then there's OT. So Team Triton got to be feeling pretty good about this one, especially after the nature of that round. That was so different from the style of attacking that we saw from Sniper Monkeys. Sniper Monkeys very quick to take all of the ground they needed and just bulldoze their way through. It never seemed to click for them, but Triton, much more considered, much more sort of gently paced, and we saw that execute come through at about the 45-second mark or so, I want to say, maybe give or take 20 seconds, and it was still a 5 versus 5. Huge brawl coming through in Bathroom, just back and forth, trade after trade after trade. And when it came down to the 2v2, Triton just played it better, getting that plant down. Avoiding the C4 was pretty huge. And I think we don't get to see a lot of the time in those situations one incredibly defining factor, but it's intel. How important was intel in those final few seconds? Were those evil eyes dispatched with early? Were the clutching defenders, you know, a bit dry of it? It certainly seemed so. They didn't really know where Matums was in that final engagement, and maybe a couple of drones spaced around gave the Ace that opportunity to just come out on top in what seemed to be completely insurmountable odds.
Yeah, the only thing that you could give for the defense there, you know, perhaps he played a little bit too isolated in that 1vx situation, or that 2v1. They should have played a little bit closer for that trade-off, but again, the rotating from down below, having to worry about where this Ace's unknown position was, a nightmarish position. Replays looks to be aggressive, hot breaching into heaven. He doesn't have clear information, but he's been very accurate with that R4C, so I think he might just take the gamble and risk it. No blue silhouettes nearby, unless Sturksy gets a Q now, is that's going to be a vault in. The camera spots it out, and that's going to be a very opening engagement. I'd imagine Ash versus Jaeger. How more poetic could it be? Sturksy aware, but doesn't even want to gamble his life away. Decides to play it more reserved, more passive, and he escapes life intact and can't do much in burning away that timer, but has another floor to dig himself in. I know, to go back and support himself on the team, support his team on site, but no, he sits on the white stairs looking to delay more time. If he can find an engagement, even take a life with him perhaps. 1 minute 45 remains, and it looks like a very swift entry from Triton might convert themselves in a very, very rapid map control.
In this sort of situation, it's understandable that Sturksy falls all the way back. You can see the vertical control coming through into reading from Cocktail, and a very quick drop as well to take control of mining and trains. So lots of good map control coming through here from the attackers, and Nom the Nom is going to strike first, finally evening out his KD. 6 and 6. Been doing quite nicely, but taking a few bullets there through the floors. Replay looks a little worse for wear. He's got this long angle. This is a really nice angle. You need to be using it in your ranked games. Sees all the way to the back of the B site to a very common anchor spot. You can even roll nades in through any reinforced walls or through a breached hole if it's been opened up by the defense, which it has been. So, very good way of displacing that key position. See Octagon trying to hunt for these bandit batteries. There could be an Electro Claw on there as well. They can be positioned in such a way that make them very difficult to remove without the use of frags. And with Sardine gone, there are none of those left on the side of Triton. So they can be very hard pushed in these final 30 seconds to try and create an opening for any sort of hard breach, as they're still a man down.
Selma's deployed on that freezer hatch to give an opening, another ingress in towards that objective, but look at the top of your screen, 20 seconds remain, and this is going to be a horrible position. Octagon gets one quick jab, falls, and that's going to trade us up into a level playing ground in terms of players, 4 versus 4, but that timer flicks on the red, 10 seconds remain. It's going to be an absolute bare knuckle brawl. Norm gets one on the replay, and everyone funneling in by freezer. That's going to be the G8 singing as Major gets one of his own. Maestro holding close to bomb, so imperative. Can he find all the kills required? Gets one and traded off, but that's going to be Sniper Monkeys winning on the clock. They've done just enough to burn away all those available seconds, and they gain their victory because of it. They stay in this fight for yet another round. Triton, can they seal the deal here, or match point for them still? Sniper Monkeys so showing that they can draw some blood, that they still have some life left in them, as Bar Cocktail the side of choice.
It seems to me that over these 2 rounds, and again, it's early days to say this is a new team, this is only a couple of rounds on Cafe, but Team Triton's attacking strategy seems to be very steady, very well paced, and overly reliant on fragging out in the site. I think their executes are very quick, they're good with their trades, but they just were a little bit too late in that round, and had they been given another 30 seconds or so, maybe it had gone another way. But one key factor that separates that kitchen defense from the bar defense is the fact that Smonkeys managed to gather a very early pick. Well, not super early, but a free pick, if you will, in the mid round, and that just left them an advantage in their favor. As soon as you've got that as Smonkeys, the way that Triton are playing, you should win the round, because it will come down to the final few seconds. They'll be playing for trades, and you can't be playing for trades if you're a man down, you know? You've got to be doing something a little bit smarter, and yeah, it just wasn't enough. I'd like to see a slightly different approach from Triton this time. I feel as though if Smonkeys have managed to read into this kind of style, then they should be able to effectively hold on this bar defense.
So that is the key right now, though, for them to read into that style. If you can present the puzzle that your opposition just cannot find the final piece to solve, you're going to be a very successful side. And I think, you know, looking how deep we are in this matchup, Smonkeys certainly have some information that there's some aggression inside of Triton, and how to counter that is up to them. Siege can often be somewhat of a puzzle game on the side of offense, at least especially in competitive play, trying to chip away at utility to give yourself a best possible entryway. The normal ascent up the roof begins, and hit fire through the barricades, trying to find anyone's head if he's there, stumble in towards that. But not going to be any luck for that one. So the Lone Ash on that rappel, going to be clearing away utility. That's going to be their job right now, or to hold a crossfire deep inside of Pixel. But once again, no commitment or no shield in towards it, and Bathroom will be the main playing point of Sturksy on that mute. You got a bullet hole to watch deep towards that new hatch drop, that new balcony, so he very much can be effective at all ranges, especially with that SMG-11 if he's proficient with it. And then Nightmare taking the brawl with. Verticality is open up by Major to clear away any positions or anything holding up that wall, and yeah, nothing's actually denying it right now, unless there was a mute jammer on it earlier. So now they have the availability to breach into that. Major creeps in the dining now and looks to probably go in the reading and open up that verticality to Cocktail, make anyone in that position uncomfortable, make every step they take a dangerous one. But on white stairs, he might have a threat of TXC. He might have that information of Buck. Surely here's that skeleton key, and perhaps even instantly thinking that he could be going to reading, but looks like he's going to be going off down towards red as Valkyrie. Wow, great core strength to hold that position, yeah. But Norm, you're very exposed to Pillar if anyone dares to break that position or make that push happen. But he's going to switch off and go back behind the bomb chassis itself.
I mean, Valk is flexing her biceps in the picture, you know, like, you expect her to be able to pull off something like that. And Nom to pull off a lovely peek onto the head of Octagon, removing the Zofia. Not too sure if she managed to get both her lifelines off, but at least that Evil Eye is gone. So, she's done part of her job, at least. So, good pick. I want to see if Major is going to be as effective from beneath as he was on the IQ last time. He did meet some success, and it seems to be his kind of order of the day, but he needs to be a bit more effective than he was last time by my books, especially if they're going to see a win this round, now that we've got this 4 versus 5. A couple of issues with the clean feed, unfortunately, it looks like, as we appear to be buffering, and we see Major actually defy my expectations. He does find Nom right there, and I think we might be continuing here. It seems to be cleaning up. Yep, so we're going to keep on going. Nom 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 gone. And a 4 versus 4 now, with about 35 seconds remaining. Have the attackers done enough? Have they cleared enough to make this take possible? Major finds quick jab. Now 4 versus 3. Going to be spicing up very quickly here as TXC gets that reply onto replay. 3 versus 3. This Evil Eye still in place. That could be huge for the hold now. The Hyde just holding back on Cocktail. Here's the push coming up. The Jaeger swings. TXC takes it. And now we've got Sardine and Matems in the 2 versus 3. Matems has managed to clutch out big before, but Sardine with a jump in takes out Sturksy. TXC refrags Matems again in the 1 versus 2. Finds one, but TXC is just lurking and survives the round on time alone. Again, Smunkies ride the timer to victory.
Very, very sketchy conclusion to that round, but for the side of Sniper Monkeys, they cannot complain as they begin to claw themselves back up to level playing field. Again, a very interesting, aggressive play to clear the player of Sturksy inside of bathroom, and it worked out perfectly, vaulting through the rotate, the last thing that would have been expected, but TXC finally, or just lurking, keeping himself in the fight as long as possible, was able to just win by default as that clock hit 000, and we move back to our operation selection phase. We're going to be going to reading and fireplay, so the tertiary site of choice, but for it being a tertiary site, it's well, it's pretty much it's very strong and very versatile, as we mentioned last time we went here. I think on the opening half we saw. But quick jab going onto that Jaeger, no longer bringing that Malusi. The Banshee is very useful for slowing down and choking a push out, but they're not going to be available for this at all.
Alright, 6-3. Smunkies slowly making their way back into this one. A couple of defensive rounds on the trot now, and that's forced them onto this tertiary site of reading. Again, like I said, one of my favourites. Replays sort of quietened down after a very, very explosive start, and we've seen Matems equaling him out now on kill count. And I'm just waiting for, well, I mean, we see a couple of big performers on the side of Smunkies, Nom the Nom and TXC, but, well, their KD isn't really showing up. They've got a good kill count, but they seem to be dying in a lot of rounds as well. So they can hold on to their lives a little bit longer and just play that a bit better, then I feel like they will see a lot of success. We've seen some good use of the timer though, and you know, that 6th defender, essentially an extra life, has been, well, it's been keeping Smunkies in this one. Triton just need to be a little bit quicker on these executes, like we said after the second round, and, well, maybe the reading site is, you know, a little bit weaker for Smunkies, and we'll see Triton push it on. If they don't get this attack here, then I could see this going to overtime.
It's a bold assumption with 3 rounds left to go and where they have to be perfect. But yeah, overtime is very much on the horizon right now, actually. When you know, considering the Smunkies have really come onto their own, they've found their stride on the defensive split. So if they can make the tertiary site work, yeah, we could definitely go there. Xerxes, on 310 road, 1.5x, and he's going to get slain out very early. Not the ideal start you want, especially when your backs are against the wall in this format. You've got to be flawless, and when he finds himself indeed being early, still recoverable, but I think at this point, he's pretty much a dead man walking in. Well, there it is. He's going to get slain out by Major, who gets that opening kill. Vertical sensors out, gets rid of utility, and that's going to be piano cleared up and ready. Verticality soon to be applied, I'd imagine, as only one member exists inside of Cocktail. Freezer's been breached open to give a line of sight or give entryway to pressure this position inside of White now. Quick Jab's going to get himself droned out, and he has to fall all the way back. That Goyo shield's not going to be long for this universe, and well, pop. He can no longer retake this verticality. He's now lost, so he has to sit, playing in the mid-level of White Stairs. What can he do from here? Everyone pushes up towards the main Cocktail, and that verticality soon to be exposed by every member of Triton. All 5 of them still standing against 4 of Smunkies. That drone is going to be a pestering Quick Jab all this day, starting to find some damage down from below. But this is going to be a massive W in that checkbook of objectives to achieve to win the round. As verticality, well, they've got it now.
Yep, Triton showed that they had quite a bit of prowess and a good understanding of this site, and that looks like it's translating not just, it's translating from their defensive hold into their attacking take as well. Look at this, 1 minute left on the board, they have the man advantage, and they've just extended that replay, finding the hide before the take. Sardine does go down though, as Quick Jab makes an aggressive push into pillars, can't confirm the kill however. Nom 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 also playing in pillars, and TXC around the train area. This is a very interesting defensive setup that we've got for this final sort of minute or so. Nom 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 does manage to find Octagon, and a second onto Sardine, evening the difference now. 30 seconds left, and suddenly this take from Triton has lost its wheels.
Momentum beginning to build us out of the defense now. 3 more attackers to find, and again, that timer going to be so imperative to this round. 20 seconds remain, I should say, and Triton yet to get that diffuser down. They hold inside of Reading, but Quick Jab's ready for a drop by Heaven. The timer hits 10, and now everything's going to be a panicked rush of blood as they have to make something happen now. 5 seconds remain. Matum goes for that plant. Will he be able to stick it out? Will the coverage be there? An aggressive play here, but will Quick Jab be able to deny it? No! A post-spawn situation. Smokies lose one more. A trade-off occurs in a 2 versus 2. Quick Jab's position now compromised with pushing in the laundry of suicide sentences. Major above gets one on the Quick Jab. TXC with TCSG, but cannot make it work as Triton close out round number 10 to give themselves their very first victory of this season. What a matchup they had. Very, very dominant on their defensive, and finally able to piece that final round together on the offensive side. 7-3 victory for them.
Excellently read in that situation. The 3 versus 3 did look shaky, but the positions of the defenders perfectly read into, and that plant spot really the only option for Triton there, and just so wonderfully played. Major doing God's work from heaven, literally, just with that vertical angle, denying or getting the refrag after the planter went down. So crucial. And yeah, that was just a wonderful take from Team Triton. Fully deserved victory, 7-3 as you said, and that's our first game of the day. So Team Triton, well, they're top of the leaderboard, but will it stay that way for long? I don't know.
Well, it's easy to say they're top of the leaderboard, you know, until now. I guess at the end of the day, we'll see how round difference plays out, if they can still be the kings of the division. But, I mean, a very good performance. A 7-3 victory on Cafe, nothing to turn your nose up at. And when you look at their dominance on the defensive side, going a 5-1 split, you've got to give them massive credit there. You know, while it is historically weighted towards that defensive side, being able to be consistent enough to confirm round after round after round, massive credit where it's due. And again, they proved to be present stuff that Sniper Monkeys couldn't break down. While they were aggressive on their entries, they couldn't make executions work. And when it went on to that defensive side, the timer was ultimately what saved Sniper Monkeys. I mean,
so Sniper Monkeys, commiseration, some flashes of brilliance in that game, but ultimately Team Triton coming out on top. We're going to throw to a short break, but do stick around because we've got some replays coming up, and we're going to see how these played out. So Matum's, well, he did show up, certainly, big time. Sturksy, we saw him have some fantastic rounds and games in last season. Unfortunately, not off to the best start right now, but hopefully he can hit back big. This was a close one, honestly. There were some really, really nice moments in this game. I think, honestly, the highlight for me was that clutch from, I believe it was Matum's as the ace. The 1 versus 2 in freezer. Big, big round from him.
Yeah, I mean, that was absolutely perfectly played. Whether he had information or not, just the wherewithal to be able to keep checking his angles. And of course, win those fights is imperative. But that double C4 there, that ultimately killed out that round there and then. Finding that double C4 and replay. A player that I think there's going to be lots of him in these. He was so active throughout the entire game. He was able to pop up when his team needed him. Look at this high pressure fight, low HP. He's going to be able to pop up, get that kill. I mean, he's just everywhere. Replay was absolutely everywhere, and I think MVP of this matchup, certainly Norm there. 2 MP7s going to war, and 0 came out on top. And, well, TCSG, hands of super, guided that one in with the Seska Hanasonic Storm. But here is actually that round. Matum, we mentioned, in that 1v2. The corners himself inside a freezer, reads the pre-fire from the Maestro with that massive barrel he all that presents. And, well, he must have had the information here. An absolute perfect check towards Bathroom. Gets that kill. I mean, both of these teams put up absolute fantastic performances on both sides. It just, Triton ultimately, I think, found these were a more collective or a more kind of put together team on its opening play day. Long season, of course, so they still have plenty more potential, so plenty more opportunities to develop as a side for Sniper Monkeys, but already a statement piece from the side of Triton.
We're getting to grips with the teams. We're getting to know the teams. It's all right. So we're going to have a very short break just before the next match, but do come back because it's going to be Randy Ravens versus Lockdown Ludens coming up next. Oh.
I'm running out of time, every day goes by so fast. And every moment counts, baby, I don't wanna miss a thing. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars, or hang out in hotel bars, driving somewhere in your car. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars, under the stars. Let's make the most of this night. Come on, baby, take my hand. And we don't need to do the things we don't want to do. Baby, while we're
Hello and welcome back to BUAL, Badass University All-Stars. I'm Jerry the Music Man. I'm joined here by Whippet. We've just seen a wonderful first game of the season between Triton and Sniper Monkeys. Triton taking that 7-3, currently sitting at the top of the table. But like we said, first game. Might not stay that way. We're going to see now Lockdown Ludens fighting off against Randy Ravens, believe it or not. Whippet.
More brilliant names. Absolutely brilliantly. I love it, man. I took a read through every single team competing this season, and the names, phenomenal. Whoever came up with all the names on each team, give yourself a proper pat on the back. Absolutely perfect, because, I mean, I love it. I absolutely do.
The only thing I'm sad about is that today my favourite team name isn't competing. They'll be here tomorrow. Imperium of Mandem. I just cannot wait to see that and get to say that live multiple times. But for the time being, we're going to be focusing on Lockdown Ludens. Again, this roster, or this team name, sticking around from last time. And Randy Ravens, new faces, new team, new icon, new everything. We've got Proctor, Benji, Jobu, Gady, and KK. Decent Edge Hill contingent there, as well as, I can't quite read that, Minotaurs, but another university. So 2 and 2, and then we've got Liverpool as well. Then we've got Smithley, I guess. We'll work that out. Deathly, Trash Waifu, Malu, and iNoob on the side of Ravens. So a lot of familiar names from last season, but in sort of different configuration.
So I mean, this is the first time that we've seen a group of players or a contingency from similar universities, so they're going to have some more experience playing with each other, I'd imagine, than a full team of absolutely new assigned people. But, I mean, looking forward to getting this one. It's very difficult right now to gauge how these teams are going to play out. We've got no tape of them as these current 5-man rosters, and we're going to have to wait until we get into the first crucible of seeing them actually go head-to-head against each other. And again, a great climate to do, so I'm really a fan of right now our current competitive meta. And again, remember, as we say at the start of the broadcast, Aruni and the Tachanka are in play. It's so odd to kind of look at the Tachanka after historically how horrible he was. Now going, okay, there's actually sort of place for him now.
Yeah, it's weird. I was having this conversation with my mates the other day about who's the worst operator in the game now. And for ages, it was obviously Tachanka, and it was a meme, and he was the Lord, and nothing could change about him. And now it's like, oh, maybe Fuse, I guess? But he has these uses. It's a much tighter kind of race down the bottom now. Finker's a little bit off, but yeah, like most of the operators are slowly finding their place, and I do love the new Tachanka and how he sort of brings new stuff to the table. A lot of people reacted really sort of harshly to him when it was first revealed. Remember the scare was like, oh my god, he's going to break the game, and we haven't seen him yet. Like at least in this league, we're probably going to see him in EUL. I think he's already been played in EUL a bit, but yeah. Aruni certainly going to have an impact, and I just can't wait to see sort of the trickle-down effect of seeing comp teams and how they utilize these new operators. Of course, 2 new defenders coming in at the same time may have some sort of overall effect. Who knows if they're quite powerful? They seem fairly well balanced, so I don't think they're going to upset the boat too much. Whippet, Lockdown Ludens and Randy Ravens.
Okay. Yeah.
Like off the back of absolutely no intel whatsoever.
Okay, no information.
Who do we think is going to win? with
right.
No info. The blind prediction.
This is a tricky one. I think just on namesake alone, Randy Ravens. I mean, it's the better name. It's a great name. So I think I'm gonna have to put my money on them to win it. But again, right now we've got no tape of these teams as a coherent 5-man. So this is our first experience actually witnessing them going the head-to-head.
Yep, and they're going to be heading off against each other on Oregon, and we are just about ready to throw to that map. Here it is, Oregon, L Ludens versus R Ravens. Notice the alliteration. That's intentional, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Ludens and Ravens. Ludens, I suppose you just say it Ludens because that's like llama, right? But I'm really tempted to roll my R on Ravens with it written like that.
Jerry, you do you. You do you, Jerry. I mean, yeah, there's nothing going to stop you. As Jackal is going to get stopped from even getting some play time. An interesting ban here in Oregon. A map there you don't see a lot of variation. You don't see brand new stuff here in Oregon because, well, we've seen it played to death across, well, every single T1 aspect and everywhere in T4. And Thatcher has made the cut. So Maverick's going to get banned out there by Randy Ravens, and that leaves Mike Baker, the SAS operator, finally in play. It almost seems like months and months since I've even seen a Thatcher viable to get picked out in Oregon. So a welcome change of pace as Mirror is the first defender to go. Again, getting rid of those mirror windows now, easier than it is doing it in a round. So again, a ban that always makes sense across most of the maps. As we move on to our final ban from Lockdown Ludens, who's it going to be? Drumroll, please. Go,
it's Kaid. Okay, they're sensible. I was
mean,
hoping it was going to be like another ranked ban. That was why I went with Clash. No, they're sensible. They get that Kaid out, and I suppose with the Thatcher still on the board, you could be leaving the Kaid in. It's an odd one to ban out when he's made his way through, but I don't know, maybe it's just something they settled on beforehand and don't want to have to deal with anyway. So, we're going to start.
I am very intrigued about that, actually, just to say, because I'm so used to this, but I mean, just kind of for context for everyone, casting across a variety of places, you see Oregon too many times. And one of the things is kind of, you always see Thatcher, Hardbreacher, Kaid, Mirror, Maestro, Clash. Those are kind of like the core of the bands. MOI thrown in there, a Goyo potentially. And a Jackal instantly confuses me. Not quite sure whether the Inoxes are there, if they've been burnt in the past by them, but getting to that Kaid now, it's usable, but bring Thatcher. It's gone. Throw 2 Thatchers if you're scared of the Kaid trick, and you have that Hatcher free. I guess they don't want to risk having to double Thatcher. They want to have a greater utility of it. And again, that's all well and good. One thing I do want to say, though, is a possibility a way you can EMP above elbow, remove the ADSs, and then chuck grenades utility to clear the shield without even having to make an entryway. So I wonder if that's going to get... I wonder if Ravens know about this, because it's something that I've only seen done twice in all of the Oregon games I've watched, because, well, Thatcher's always banned.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing to see him come through the ban phase, but that is a neat little trick. If you roll on up just outside above elbow, it's very easy to disable everything, and you bypass the risk of an EMP getting caught in, say, a magnet, which is very relevant because we've got 1 eye on the board, and Proctor has placed one of those magnets right by the double door in blue. We see a full spawn on the construction side from the Ravens, and they're going to be moving on gradually, presumably taking control of tower for a fairly standard blue and big tower push. We've got the 2 hard breaches of the Ace and Thermite, so a good bit of sort of redundancy there, but they are relatively short on soft breach, so that Zofia is arguably one of your most precious operators in this situation.
Yeah, again, not having that great variety of soft breach options, Sophia all of a sudden becomes that MVP you protect at all costs. But a lot of extension upstairs towards meeting and kitchen. That's going to be the Vigil, who has so many angles to work with, but here's his air jabs getting deployed. Sees the laser land right beside him, and he's not going to really use that doorway anytime soon. Caught up, but back in the meeting he goes, throws on that Wi-Fi router mounted to his back, and he can have some time brawling away by Church Pew. He's going to get himself lit up, traded off on some damage, and I think already the attackers are doing a very good job of putting pressure on and making Benji fall back. He can't do a whole lot right now. Will this hatch get opened up as no progressions out of bunker's been made, and he's going to get caught out in that rotation, but the AK of Comrade Barney couldn't quite find enough damage, and with 1 minute 40 left to go, it's very imperative they clear him away as iNoob gets down left in DBNO, definitely gets aggressive and finds Benji traded off foot. Support was there from Freezer. That's going to be KK who gets one on the Deathly. We're back in a technical 4v4 now, but as iNoob begins to bleed out, will he get recovered and revived? A very tricky position inside a meeting, but looks like that roam presence being displaced for now. 1 minute 20 remains, and finally, time to get pushing towards the objective itself.
With the hatch still shut, no option for any sort of aggression with C4s or what have you, even smoke canisters out of the electrical hatch, so, well, maybe a blessing in disguise that Ravens took their time on that front, as iNoob now has opened up that hatch, and that's going to force Jobu back. He can't really realistically be playing pillars any longer, so he's forced into the hallway. Gady, though, still holding blue as the smoke, and they do have reinforcements in pocket. Well, 1 reinforcement in pocket. The idea here, in case you're new to Oregon, is to fall back gradually and then seal up shop once you're back in the safety of the site. The swing comes through. Gady gets lit up in response. Manages to toss out a gas canister, dealing with death there. Proctor, though, has his ass covered as he swings and takes out the head of Trash Waifu. iNoob has pushed down from pillars. Very limited HP, but with the AK-12 hollow in hand, going to push on through. Does get taken out by KK as we see the seal up of the shop from Gady, and now 4 versus 2 with limited options here. Proctor and KK seal things out. Great little tag teaming there from the Wamai and the Legion. That's going to be it. call this
KK
round.
going huge, finds those 3 kills with the T5 and Freezer, and when you're given an opportunity to line them all up, well, knock them down. He done a great job of that. I really am a massive fan, though, of that roam presence of that Vigil. They eventually had lots of options, lots of rotates around, and the cover came up from Freezer stairs. Oh, great awareness, a great situation they set up for themselves. So, kind of a big props on that one. Can they continue that level of setup and coordination as they move up the stairs to dorms, as we see a very similar lineup being brought? But again, it's unideal perhaps to bring the Vigil here if they don't roam with him, and yes, they're going to be 6-picking that Vigil onto Malusi. Those Banshees, well, you're going to get yourself funneled into very narrow entryways even with breaches open, so a Banshee wailing in your ear isn't going to be ideal as they push into that objective, especially if the timer begins to flicker red as they go on for a second round.
I doubt that the Jackal would be on Raven's sort of list of choices here, because you do have to bring a very specific set of utility on the attack on Oregon, but the way that Ludens have set themselves up in this first half by sticking that Vigil in the first round and now 6-picking off of it has left Ravens with a bit of a conundrum. Do they do a very thorough roam clear all over the shop without one of the key tools that you might use, the Jackal, for every single round? Or do they just sort of assume and maybe hope that their drone work is enough? I would say probably the latter would be the most sensible option, but there's always going to be that niggling doubt in the back of their mind. So very nice sort of initiative taken from Ludens early on to set the pace on this half. And, you know, we saw it early on. We saw that first frag going the way of Ravens, but the immediate refrag coming out from Ludens. That was so key, because you don't want to have a man disadvantage on any sort of defensive hold early on. And the way that Jobu and I believe it was Gady on the Vigil were playing in sort of tandem with each other was very, very nice to see. Regardless of the operators they choose, I'd like to see if they continue that sort of dynamism into the second round.
One thing I want to kind of call to attention is the lack of a secondary hard breacher. Inoob gets a great opening kill there on a Proctor. So, Trash Waifu, the only hard breacher available. And again, that jammer is going to get EMP'd pretty quickly. There's the thermal charge doing its job. But again, not having that level of redundancy, not a Habana or an Ace there, they're risking it with a Thermite. So, an interesting choice and a hard breacher that, well, is beginning to fall away from competitive climates. You know, rest in peace the days of Goga being your Thermite hero. Especially now he's not even in comp. Weeps a little bit.
Cries in support.
I used to be a support player. I used to be on Goga's role. I know the pain. Oh, man. It's so sad to see that all of those rosters from that massive Pet EG matchup. That's no longer competitive play. Big Sag.
Very big Sag indeed. And support players, as noted by Reaper, kind of a dying breed right now. I feel like my spots in my stack is slowly kind of dwindling in importance over time. But that's, you know, I'll put my sort of sadnesses to the side for today. We've got ourselves still a minute 20 to go. Attackers basically have control of this round. Ravens have done a great job clearing out Attic. We see the rotate having come through from Trash Waifu. He's managed to open up the breach. Has he managed to open up the breach inside of... Yeah, he has. He's got an entryway into games, and with those Thermite charges, it's such a huge opening that you really can't afford to be playing close, and that's forced all of Ludens back into kids and bunks. So the execute could come through any minute now, really, from Ravens. They're setting themselves up, getting rid of those pesky pieces of utility, the Banshees, etc. But Benji's going to swing, and even the odds there, taking down Mali. Diffuser drop. Trash Waifu has made his way to default position, but he doesn't have Diffuser. KK will shut him down. Comrade Barney swinging back, and Inoob's the one planting now instead. Benji has been down effectively at 3 versus 2 in favor of the attackers. He is in a corner where he's basically unresable. Jobu and KK now trying to retake. KK underneath, going to be trying to push up the armory stairs. Doesn't have a C4 in hand, and well, that's going to be really tough for him. Jobu manages to work his way into a position where he may be able to res Benji. That might be the play here, as they really have to go for frags. He is res 3 versus 3 now. Jobu trying to push on out. The attackers have fallen back quite far, but Inoob has the long angle towards Benji. KK trying to push onto the player in balcony, but these attackers, they've just fallen far back enough that they don't have to worry too much. 11 seconds on the round. KK finds one. 9 seconds. Inoob gets the refrag, but no one's on Diffuser, and Inoob will claim the final kill of the round on the KK. The timer was going to win it for them anyway, but a nice bit of stat padding there from the Zofia. That's going to be a round in favor of Randy Ravens.
And a quad kill of all things, finding 4 in that round in a great post-plant situation. One thing I was queuing up since we got into this lobby is, well, Trash Waifu, he's doing his best impression of a Trash Waifu, going 0-2. And I hate the fact I can make that reference. It does eat at me at night.
I feel like there's layers to that reference that I'm not getting, but
there is. Yeah, I'll explain off broadcast.
Good, okay.
To save face, you know.
Some of you will have loved that, I guess. He's even got the uwu after his name. Amazing. Oh, it's Trash Waifu. That's beautiful. Rose off the tongue. I didn't even catch that.
I think I was warned about this name coming into this season. Oh, I shall do my best to save face and not say the uwu at the end of that one. You get the one there, but
save them while you can from the mouth of Whippet. Apparently, he's being very sparing with the uwus.
At least on broadcast, we'll say
I'll
that
be generous. I'm going to be generous with them. It's every single time it's going to be Trash Waifu. I will give it the full title. I promise.
Jerry, a committed man to his craft. I like to see it. But tell you who else is committed? Lockdown Ludens going upstairs again. Can they make the second time of asking a good defensive round up in dormitory? Well, only time can tell, but it looks like they're going to be implying a very similar strategy. But this time, they're actually going to have a shotgun. They open up the rotation by top white, not rely on the Kairos, which can only give you lines of sight.
So, a very aggressive shield setup going on in Master Bedroom right now, as we see one being plonked right on that bed. So they immediately want to contest every single piece of ground. And to be honest, that's understandable right here from Ludens. We see that with the Thatcher in play, opening up these key walls is so much easier. And there's virtually no contention from Ludens on the attic side of things, because how do you contest that, really? You've got to play either fairly aggressively in tower, which is, sometimes a death sentence. It's certainly a bit of a suicide mission if you try and get any sort of kills from there. And contesting the other side of things, making sure that master push doesn't come through quite as quickly, I think is a good way to go about things here. So they've got the Goyo shields, they've got the shields stacked up there, and they want to make sure that any sort of entry, especially with this thermite, is going to be very difficult for Ravens.
A grenade getting ready, and well, if that was able to hit its mark, BC would be very proud with that one, but the Academy of Troubles, no new applicant just quite yet from this matchup. Smoke on top of that hatch, giving no opportunity, but Giobu gets one on the death play, opens up with that carbine in the hands of Jaeger. C4 tossed out of that Master Bedroom balcony, but to no avail. It's going to be a tricky fight around the shield, but he's going to be able to escape unpunished for now, and he's going to fall even further back into the objective, and a minute 25 remains. That's going to be a massive victory for Proctor. I knew brawling away. He could find 4 in the previous round. Can he continue that trend and get even more? The exothermic charge sent out and deployed, but that Master Bedroom wall is now opened. The impact trick of Benji couldn't do the job, and his time drains away. Nervous palms, perhaps, as Ainu pops that Goyo shield, nearly doing some team damage, but gets that out of the fight before it becomes an imminent threat to life and team. Looks down towards that small dorm doorway, but can't find anyone. And Benji, keep an eye on this Malusia right now, tucked in that corner. But oh, Proctor, we are just 2 squeezes that trigger at the hands of the Kector, and down falls Ainoob. So potent last time on our previous outing on this site, but can't find any kills of this one. 45 seconds remain. What can happen from the side of Ravens?
Ludens so scathed right now, but they've fallen back. They've diced with death. They've taken a beating, but 5 men still remain, and that's the important thing right here. With 30 seconds left to make that 2 left for Trash Wife Uwu going down. Ravens now with 25 seconds. All of this pressure has to come from Attic, and this prone angle is impossible to push through. Proctor with 1, Jobu with another. Flawless round from Lockdown Ludens as they absolutely lock down the dorm site the second time of asking.
Very, very secure hands to lock that one down. Ainoob couldn't find a footing, couldn't find a 4K yet again, and everything played out absolutely perfectly. Proctor on that Goyo, being able to escape the pressure inside of Master Bedroom, falling back and finding 2 more for his team. That's going to be a massive kind of side of Ravens. They should have punished that rotation of the Goyo. Otherwise, they would have not had to deal with that Kector at range. And again, small things like that are going to be the epitome of Siege. It's a death by paper cut type of game, and letting people remain unpunished for daring rotations out like that are going to be one of those punishing things. As we go back down to the basement, we've only seen 2 sites so far, but will we be able to go to a third one if this is a successful defensive victory? We don't know, but that's going to be definitely 6 picking away from the Habana, the Queen of Hatches, onto that Ash. So will the R4C be a better option, that Type 89 and that hard breach utility, as they do bring that redundant... Actually, no, they don't bring 2 hard breaches. I thought we would have had his trash waifu. Woo, grabs the ace.
I love how you separated it that time, but extra emphasis on the Uwu. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
There's something quite special about this attacker lineup, and you did mention it, which is that they have that ace, the one hard breacher. But look quite carefully, Comrade Barney on the Buck, bringing that hard breach charge. That is the development I was really looking to see. As soon as Buck got these hard breach charges, you know that there's, a hatch or two that needs opening, a particular line of sight perhaps once you've controlled elbow to look towards Freezer. A hard breach charge will do that just as well. In fact, better than a Selma charge in some cases because it's more efficient. You're just using that one piece of secondary utility as opposed to 2 pieces of primary utility. So this combination, very nice. And it means that on the side of Ravens, you've got not 1, not 2, but 3 forms of self-destruction, whereas last time they were a little bit short on it. So I feel like this is overall a massive improvement, barring one difference. The lack of a Nomad. They brought a Nomad last time round, relying on the meaty sneezes of the air jabs to your reaction is killing me. To keep the flanks on lock, and well, it didn't work out for them. So I think they're just ignoring it this time, using more conventional methods to lock out any sort of roaming presence from Benji and co, as he's still on that vigil, and focusing a bit more on taking control of elbow.
Sorry for ruining your flow, but a meaty sneeze. Jerry.
It sounds like it. It's like, when you've eaten too much, like, steak and... Oh! Oh! I mean, who do we congratulate? Like, that was incredible on both ends. Wow. The direct trade coming through from Proctor and Noob with 1 taps each way. You don't see that every day.
I mean, if you're gonna trade, do it in style with a 1 tap. Oh my, oh my. That's gonna be a smoke grenade call with a Wamai fan kick and a canister toss that prevent anyone trying to be their best Chewie impression of being a smoke criminal, but no one's gonna even opt to do that. That's gonna be caught up, and these are nasty smokers behind goals, so that's gonna be... Barney tries to get aggressive, but the elbow shield is always tricky to fight with. He's got so many windows and angles he can get information from, and those toxic canisters in the back pocket, choking out the push, now isolating the 2 attackers inside of elbow. He's gonna try and get aggressive on the Buck and does so effectively. That's gonna be finding Barney, but will a trade occur? The SMG-11 great at close quarters with a low magazine count, but he's gonna be able to get himself tucked in back to the objective, and he's gonna get that reinforcement raised above his head just in time. He's gonna keep his life intact, definitely with a goon mine in his ankle, slain out by Benji. The Selma charges open up the elbow wall, and angle up the freezer's been opened. Benji looks to continue the brawl deep towards electrical with 40 seconds remaining. A tricky round for Ravens, considering they've been reduced to 2 and a 4 versus 2. A tricky brawl, but a great flick into electrical to get to kill the Benji. But Kiki trades off on the trash waifu woo, and it's all down to a 1 versus 3. Thatcher, what work can be done? We don't see this operator a lot. The Elliot with a 2x, great for dishing out the hurt at longer distances, but forced in a close quarter brawling. It's going to be a tricky one. The Fuse are stuck in no man's land, and surely this is going to be all she wrote for this round. As Ludens look to get aggressive. That's going to be another kill there, second of the round for Malibu, but it's going to be a collapse in as 10 seconds remain, and this is all she wrote as Ludens are surely going to be able to bank another round.
Say that, he manages to get them down, he's got 1 more, doesn't quite get the flick. On to KK there, who does seal it out a little bit too close for comfort there, as we called it a bit early. I was with you right there. So, Lockdown Luden's just about holding on there. Some ill-informed pushing in the 3 versus 1. Perhaps maybe not the best idea to go straight up blue against a long-range AR when you've got the shotgun SMG combo in hand. Just, sit pretty, sit tight, play the numbers game, go for refrags. I'd say Lockdown Ludens are lucky to get away with that one, honestly. That was absolutely winnable from Manu there.
That, again, when you get aggressive in a 1vx position like that, when you hold the advantage, you can only expect yourself to get punished as you funnel in 1 by 1. And you said, ultimately, lucky to be able to close out that round as the knock is flashed, but 6 picked away to as the Thermites brought out as we go into kitchen and dining. the tertiary site finally going on a grand tour around Oregon, as we will see a very popular tertiary site brought in play. And I wonder, will we see anyone holding small tower? I've witnessed so many times in Benelux, one player can just sit inside of tower and, well, dictate the ebb and flow of a round. Will anyone be so daring on the side of Ludens to do so?
From what we've seen, if I'm going to put my money on anyone to do something like that, it's Benji. He's rocking that Vigil, can try and kind of evade direct detection, I suppose, shooting drones, making sure he plays in the, well, copious amount of hard cover that's in this particular room. That said, Inu seems prepared for it. He's already stuck a drone up there, perhaps expecting some early aggression, or just looking to make sure that they clear out that key piece of ground early on. And yeah, it doesn't seem as though anyone from Lockdown Ludens is going to be quite so tenacious as to hold that extended ground. They're sitting quite far back. This showers hold, fairly standard, opening up some foot level holes, making sure that you can take the fight onto attackers, but they can't take the fight to you. It's a very nice way of setting yourself up. And as we see here from the approach by Ravens, looks like they're prizing vertical control. They need to make sure they gain control, particularly of kids' dorms, and use the vertical control into kitchen. But more importantly, deny the possibility of vertical control from the defenders. You can get some very nasty angles, basically one-way angles from the hatch there to deny any sort of plant inside of dining. So, key piece of ground, will it be contested or not? Who knows? It looks like right now, in fact, Ravens have sort of sidestepped it and are going for a very lateral push from the tower.
Yeah, this seems to be a pretty default push. Meat and potatoes as you would like. It looks like they're going to be using exothermic charge on the wall above to open that one up, and I think they're going to be able to achieve that. So that's going to be the first checklist off, and well, yeah, they have used it. I actually love this angle. It's such an ingenious use of the hard breach mechanic, and with Freezer now opened up, it's going to be given up for free relatively easily. We've seen so many teams